Hey guys, right now I want to bring in Georgetown University professor and author Michael Eric Dyson. Joining us again is Mort Zuckerman, today's guest co-host, and we're also joined by Pat Buchanan. Michael Eric Dyson, I'm going to turn to you first. Did you hear Peter King's comments, the congressman from Long Island? So what do you make of that when you hear that critique? Is that a legitimate part of the conversation? Has he overstepped his bounds?
I think he's overstepped his bounds, to be sure. Michael Jackson went to trial, was exonerated, and cleared of all charges, number one. Number two, however, you might still foster suspicion or skepticism about his particular practices, but to call him a pervert, I think, is racially tinged. It's certainly tinged by a bias against the kind of entertainment that Michael Jackson performed. It is ignorant of his enormous and colossal impact on the culture, and it misstates our comprehension that all human beings, even if they are legends or icons, are flawed. And I think Mr. King needs to look within his own fellowship and fraternity where enough perversion and I think corruption have manifested themselves in recent days to suggest that he needs to clean up Congress first before he goes out to the stage of entertainment.
Mort, the professor from Georgetown's calling out the Republicans broadly.
Well, look, I think we are celebrating something quite wonderful in Michael Jackson. He was an unbelievable performer. I happened to see several of sort of the reprises of his world tour, and as his music evolved and his talents evolved, the man was such an extraordinary talent. I mean, we have almost never seen that in our lifetimes as an entertainer. That's what we're really celebrating. This man really just charged an unbelievable number of people with his music, his singing, and his dancing. His dancing put him on a level of Fred Astaire. There are only one or two people like that in the last 50 years. I can understand totally why he is being celebrated. I think the points made by Representative King are really off the line at this stage of the game.
Pat Buchanan, what are your thoughts on what Peter King had to say and Michael Eric Dyson's comments as well?
Well, I don't see any racial motivation in Peter King. He clearly did not like Michael Jackson, and he clearly has some very hard feelings about what's been learned and what's been alleged and all the rest of it. I do agree with Mort that the timing of this is probably not the right time. And secondly, if Peter King's going to run statewide, I think certain areas of New York are probably not going to be visited by him if he's going to run for the U.S. Senate. But I do think this: there's a certain time when people pass away that you give it a decent interval, while people who loved him and appreciated him and admired him mourn for him, and you hold off your commentary during that. But I do think the coverage, of course, it has been enormous and exhaustive, and I think by and large enormously favorable to Michael Jackson. I mean, I've never seen Michael Jackson clips. I've seen more of Michael Jackson's, videos in the last 5 days than I've seen in my whole life.
Well,
hey guys,
Pat, you've had a very, very, cautious and restrained life. It's not true of all of us, Pat, as you know.
I've got all the Elvis stuff. I've got the Elvis stuff, Mort.
Michael Eric Dyson, I'm going to give you the final word. We've only got 30 seconds. Your final thoughts here.
Well, Michael Jackson, I agree with both Mort and Pat that Michael Jackson was an extraordinary performer. I saw him perform live, a genius of world proportions, an incredibly talented person who touched every race, class, gender, sexual orientation in the world, and I think we need to celebrate and uplift the positive, edifying dimensions of what he represented. And it's not that we don't have room for critical analysis, as Mr. Buchanan said, but let that hold off for a while. The vicious assault upon him, this man's genius should be celebrated, and I think we should put all the other stuff to rest.
Michael Eric Dyson, Pat Buchanan, Mort Zuckerman, what a crew. What a way to start off this morning show. Thanks to all three of you.